I mean, we're all set.
We're here. We're live. We're coming at you. We're unprepared. The dishes are done. The kids are asleep, and
Let's hope so.
we both put both of our children to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
I want to fill you in on that
Yeah.
because
This is real.
my
This isn't just a show.
my children really do not like going to bed by themselves,
Mm.
and I mean it can just dismantle an entire night. And I'm like, eventually, they will. So we can do this thing where we try to wait out their cries while I'm right next door doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Or I can just lay with them and dude, this works on Charlie every time. I'm not sure what's going on, but I do like meditation breathing where I do like 7 seconds in, usually longer, and then like 7 seconds out, in my nose, out my mouth. And in 5 minutes, she's just like, because she's kind of like leaning against me.
Yeah.
So she kind of like that wave motion.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just not great at going to bed by themselves.
Well, I mean, it's
What
all
are yours
phases. It's always phases, right? Like whatever works this week, doesn't work in like 3 months. All of a sudden it's like, no, I'm not going to breathe like that. Like you're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
This works so well.
like their cells change, and they're like, no, this isn't my favorite
When they were
dinner anymore.
little, I sang to them, and that normally helped. Ruby I could always, I don't know, I just lay with her, and if I could just get
That's
her
what
to
me and
stop
Hannah do.
fidgeting with her hands, I'm like, stop. I would just be like, stop. Like don't move your hands, and she'd be out in like 10 minutes as soon as her hands would stop, because her hands would just keep like smacking herself in the face, like getting comfortable, and I'm like, just stop moving your hands. But I read John Lithgow's autobiography, and in it I'm trying
So
to remember
crazy.
what.
I swear to God, I cut a promo putting John Lithgow and Dexter over last night to Heather because I'm like,
Oh my
the whole
gosh.
show is so awesome, but like in my mind, knowing that like you're eventually going to get the payoff that is season 4 of Dexter
Oh
with
my
Lithgow,
God.
and
So good.
that ending, man, there still has not been an ending that it shook me to my core where I was almost like afraid to look around. Like I thought I was just so sucked into it. It's pretty exciting. And they're doing a show where he's younger,
Right.
but the show starts off where he didn't die at the end of that last season.
Yeah.
He's like hanging on, and they're driving him to the hospital, and he's replaying his whole life. That's why they go all the way back to like when he was
Okay.
way younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's gonna be a new show, like he's back.
Oh, he's back fully. I thought he
Yeah,
was still like
but anyway,
battling cancer and stuff.
yeah, he's beaten cancer a couple times.
Oh, okay. Well, he's great. The
He's so good.
I read the Dexter books too. I read the first 2. And then the third one was just terrible, and I couldn't keep going. I think there's like 7 of them. But the third one like changed how his internal, I don't know, dialogue or something, and it became really whiny and bitchy, and I couldn't hold on after that. But the first 2 were good. The first 2 books are good, and they kind of follow along almost very similar to the TV show. I think like 2 people are like flipped, like 2 characters are flipped, and so if you already saw the show, it's not like super surprising as to what happens. I think maybe it's like the first book is like the 3rd season ending or something like that. It's like things are just kind of flipped around. Anyway, but speak of John Lithgow, yeah. So I read the John Lithgow book, and in it he talks about how he kind of got into acting, and when he started, he remembered this childhood book that his dad would read him, and so one day he just kind of decided that he would start memorizing this story, and he'd do it, and he'd read it in a a big fashion, or I can't think of the word, but like a dramatic fashion. He'd do a dramatic reading of it.
It'd be bombastic.
And he thought it was like impossible, but he would just kind of start it, and he would memorize like the first sentence and then just go for a walk and just keep saying the first sentence over and over again and then the next day he just kept adding like a sentence or like a few sentences until he could recite the whole story. It's like a short story in this book. And it's an interesting story, but he mentioned the book, so I went out and I got the book. So after I read his autobiography, I got this a copy of this old book from like the 40s, and like found the story he was talking about and read it. And when I was trying to get the kids to bed, it's like full of these like really old 1940s short stories. So whenever the kids would be like, "Oh, please, like, can we just have one more story?" And I'd be like, "Sure, let me read this one." And I'd like open up the book, and it would just be like, to them, it was like nails on a chalk.
Another language.
Yeah, they were just like trying to stay awake. And I'm like, and then she ran down the hill, and the hill was grassy, and she found the pebble. She returned the pebble back to the pauper.
Dandelion.
And the pauper said,
"Dandelion said gray."
"Yea is you," and so
pauper, right? Yeah, all these like occupations that they're like, what is that?
Yeah, they don't even. I don't
To
know.
the blacksmith.
And I would just blow right past any questions. I'm like, no.
No, right. Take it all in.
And some of the short stories were, let's say, quite racist, and especially if you get to the earlier ones, yeah, as one does. Like some were about like opium dens and stuff like that. So
cool.
So sometimes it was very entertaining to start one of the short stories and hope they fell asleep before it started getting really bad. So that for me that was kind of entertaining. And then all of a sudden I'd like just get if I lost and I got to that part, I would just like flip a few pages and just start reading the second half of a completely different story. See if they were paying attention. But that worked for quite a while until Ruby started actually understanding stories and words, and then I had to take that book away from her.
Dude.
But that
worked, that's so funny when all of a sudden like you can't skip a page because they're gonna notice. You're like, even if you're just trying to like get speed through this thing, it's like eventually they're gonna be like, yo, wait, I think you skipped a page. I've memorized this whole book.
Oh my gosh.
Shit.
We're reading Harry Potter right now. We're on like the 5th book, and if they sit next to me, I push them away because they read over my shoulder, and even I don't know some of the words, right? I mean, like some of the words are just, and I think I have like a British copy of the book or something. So it's like all these British lingo. I'm like, why is there so much? Yeah, the King's English is in there, and so I'm reading it, and they'll be over my shoulder and be like, "No, Dad, it was them, not that." I'm like, doesn't matter. Like I don't want to be corrected in the middle of reading it out loud.
It's so funny. Like if you watch a dubbed movie, if you read the subtitles, it's never like, 1-to-1. And I'll do that. Like I'll kind of like leave off "she said," or I'll kind of like change it as I'm reading it. And then Hannah will always make me go back, start over and read it from the beginning. I'm like, God, you're nothing like me. It's unbelievable.
You can't just let it slide. It's so funny. But yeah, so hopefully they fall asleep. The last thing that got them to go to sleep actually was they both wanted alarm clocks. So we got them like small digital alarm clocks that they could like set themselves, and then so now like they go to bed and they like set the time that they want to wake up, and then they just kind of like lay there and stare at it and be like, soon I shall awaken. So
you will speak to me.
Yes. So yeah, they set their alarms now and they like get up, but they're still all the same nonsense, randomly, but it's few and far between. It's still like, I can't sleep. And my catchphrase, which they already know, my catchphrase when they come in and they're like, I can't sleep, I always say, and it's like such a dadism, and I don't know when I started saying it, but I've just been saying it for years now.
Oh no.
Is just, well, it's not going to help you standing up, right? because they always come in and they're always standing up. So, and when they hear that, they're like, ugh. And if it's just me at home, they just turn around and go right back to bed. Like if Kelly's not here, they know they're not getting consoled. Like, no, you're not getting any of this.
It's great when they like finish the sentence of your like turn away. You're like, you're not gonna fall asleep, and then they turn around and go standing up. And
Yeah,
away.
right. It's win-win. To me, it's a win-win situation, right? It's like, all right, never mind. I'll just go back to bed. Like, you obviously didn't have that strong of a feeling that you had to stay up. So, I don't know. It's
I
it's
know, and
fun.
I'm like, it's funny because like I'm like, well, what do you want to stay up for? And I'm like, well, I wanted to stay up as a kid, and I'm like, what did I want to stay up for? I guess because sleep is just boring.
Well, you always thought you were missing something, right? I mean, like even as adults, we always
I
feel like we're
hated that.
missing something. I always thought my parents were up like eating like
Never
piles
know.
of Oreos or something. They're just like down there like, "Ah, the kids are in bed." Ah, which is semi true. I mean, there's definitely some sweet eating at night, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
true.
the other thing that's tough now is that the kids are much bigger. So, if they fall asleep somewhere other than their bed and I have to like carry them back to their bed, or like they're not able to like wake up and walk, they're like 80 pounds now. Like I could throw my back out. I mean, it's like insane.
Damn.
They're big,
Yeah, dude.
and they're
Yeah.
dense. Like they have
Yeah.
weird density to them. It's not
Right.
it's not like
Is
the little
Leo like
koala you used to
the
pick up.
same pound? Does he
Yeah,
weigh the same or is
he
he
weighs
heavier?
himself every single day to be competitive with Ruby. Every single day. Like you would think we have UFC fights going on in our house because he's just
Right.
like
Right.
he
They're
just gets there
making
in the
weight.
morning and he's like, looking at the scale. He's like, okay, you know, he's up, he's
That's
down,
great.
he's up, he checks himself, he checks it, he pees, he checks again, like he's always trying to see how much he weighs. And then like all of a sudden you'll hear he's like, I'm 76 pounds. And then the next day he's like, I'm back down to 73. I'm like, all right, dude, just hit the creatine. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
know. Don't think about it too much.
he's like solid muscle though, because
That'll
he's
affect it.
he's just running around nonstop.
I know, dude. Like Hannah does like cheerleading and like gymnastics and has like a six pack and like pecs.
Yeah.
I'm like, geez, this is insane. It's awesome. I wish I was doing something like that.
I'm trying. Can you
That
just
muscle memory so early.
we just don't have that fun factor. Like working out gives us like a bit of pleasure, but it's also work. Like there's nothing in my brain that won't tell me it's not work, that I'm like doing it for something else. But meanwhile,
Oh
they
yeah.
just go into play mode and it's like they'll just keep going until
Right.
until they drop. It's like
Right. Right.
and all they
They
need is
don't even
like
know.
a foam ball. Like it doesn't take much. It's just like here's a ball. It's crazy. But it's awesome too. It's awesome to just watch
Foam
them
ball.
be like in shape and stuff.
It is. I know. It's awesome. I love that. I'm like so happy that it's like not, I don't know shit about cheerleading, but
Yeah.
like that's Hannah's thing. And I'm like, cool. I'm new to it as well.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I mean, it's a whole world to
uh,
get into. Yeah.
and the soccer, it's like, all right, I'm going to give the next set of coaches one more season. And if they don't like do what like I think they should do, like until like
That's
the last game of the season,
yeah.
then I'm gonna have to, because it's like, dude, you can see the talent rising like pretty early,
Yeah.
and then I get them to play the important positions, and I know they're like still not at that age yet, but I know it's getting close.
Well, yeah.
'Cause
I
there are
mean,
some girls where it's like, dude, they're awesome,
yeah. There's some that I mean,
naturals.
the separation just goes like that, and it depends. Like,
Yeah,
like a lot of our leagues here are just herding cat leagues. They're just like,
right,
all right, like just stay in the big rectangle and go around in a
right.
circle. And then it's just like
Okay,
Tecmo Super Bowl where like there's like the Bo Jackson just running circles on everybody, and they're all just like
right.
following, like, "Hey, get back here." Um, yeah, that happens a lot, but I don't know,
Yeah,
like,
and then there's like players that you see like improve and actually like figure it out
yeah,
by the end. That was like so much fun to watch. This team of girls that are like 6, 7, kind of being like, oh, I'm going to play soccer. Like
Yeah.
for a couple of, like, I'm good. It was awesome seeing it. A
It's
lot of fun.
always what I always try to do, like when I'm coaching, because I've coached like baseball and basketball at this point. Um, and basketball I know nothing about really. Like I mean I look something up and I teach a drill. But I always try to get the kids
Most
that,
points wins.
well, like basketball and baseball are completely different, right? Because
So
it
different.
in baseball, like you need the full team. It doesn't matter if like you've got an all-star at short if they hit it to right. Like it doesn't, it all just goes out the window, right? Um,
Yeah,
but
you can't have like an ace pitcher yet.
but in basketball, it's really tough for an ace not to just be an ace all the
Yeah,
time.
right. Yep.
Like I'm just going to
Yep.
dribble through everybody and shoot, and then I'm going to dribble through
Right.
everybody, and then I'm shooting, and then I'm the third time I'm going to dribble through everybody, and it's like
Yeah.
it's
There's
tough
always
to
a
make it a,
LeBron or a
yeah.
Kobe or a Jordan.
So I always go to those kids, and I'm just like, hey, like, all right, you're good, you're good, you're very good, right? And yes, could you go and like score on everybody almost every play? Yes, you could. Is that really going to make you
This
any
isn't
better?
one-on-one.
I don't think so. Like what
You
I
got to
need you
do
to
the
do,
job. You got to assist.
I need you to be a leader. Like I need you to get
Magic
the
Johnson.
rest of the team in line, like I need you to pass to get everybody else's courage up, encourage them, like pass them a ball, pass it back, and
Be the
then make a
facilitator.
shot.
Be the
Yeah.
quarterback.
Yeah. If you're really that good, and that's kind of the way I say it. I'm like, if you're really that good,
Yeah, I know.
if like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
slowing you down, right? Because that's normally the opinion. It's like, oh, like everyone else is slowing me down. Everyone else is not really, doing as good as I am. And it's like, okay, fine. So you lead the team then. You be the captain. But to be the captain, you can't just keep the ball to yourself the whole time.
Right.
And a lot of the kids step up to it. Like a lot of the kids definitely step up to it.
No,
And
that's like the ultimate challenge, though. It's almost like you have to almost, in your mind, do less
yeah. And
because that won't make you great if you just do the one thing and score.
yeah. Like you're playing it on easy. You're playing it on easy mode.
It's a team.
It doesn't.
Whether you like it or not, it's a team sport.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also like the only way they're getting away with it too is because of the rules of the league. So the rules of the league don't allow double teams. So they could just double team you or triple team you and you'd be done and the game would be over. Right? You wouldn't have anything to fall back on.
Right. A good defense is going to swamp you because you have no one to go to.
Yeah. So the league doesn't allow for that. And if it did, it would be like super easy to shut down a whole bunch of teams. Like I'd just be like double team that kid, double team that kid, like, and it would just be over.
Put like your best defender on them the whole game.
Sometimes I just
never let them get the ball.
Sometimes I just put the girls on them because the boys at this point are starting to get very terrified of the girls. So like to play defense on them, they're like like like
Yeah,
they're like trying not to,
right.
like, oh my god.
Like, I'm not hip checking this
Right.
girl. I'm going to send her into the bleachers.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it needs to like separate at this league, close to this age too. Like it's just not really fun for anybody because the boys are like trying to incorporate the
No.
girls, but they're working at like 10 times the speed. And the girls are having a good time because there's other girls there, but they're really not enjoying the way the boys are playing. Like it's so funny to
Yeah,
like
it's like
watch
all the guys kind of have to coordinate it to get the girl the ball.
it. Yeah. And they
But
have to
then
like
it's like
overcome this like passing to a
one-on-one.
girl mentality too. Like a lot of them are like, I could pass it to you, but like I don't know what you're gonna do with it. And it's not like the girls don't do well. They do well, but it's just it's like a different momentum or something that each of them have. Like it's like two songs out of
Right.
sync. It's not good or bad. It's just like two songs out of sync. They just don't work together anymore.
It's, you know what it is to me in my mind. It's like me defending a male basketball player is like brick hitting brick.
Mm-hmm.
Me defending a female basketball player is brick hitting glass.
Yeah. It's just
like if I go full bore, I'm gonna shatter her.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I go 100%,
it's too much.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way.
So
maybe some girls could handle it. There
Absolutely.
are exceptions, but that
Absolutely.
proves the rule.
And there were some girls in the league here who could do it, and I saw them, and they were
Yeah,
great. But it's just like
it's too risky.
it's just different. It's like a
I don't
different
want to risk it.
speed.
That's what it is to me. I don't want to. I don't
Yeah.
want to swat a girl and have the ball smash back in her face and her nose
Right.
is bleeding. I
Yeah.
want to do that to a guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like a different
No problem
aggression
doing it
too.
to him.
Yeah. The
He'll
guys,
handle it.
the
He knows
boys
it's
like
coming.
run into each other, and then they're like, like they just start like grunting at each other. Like
Like those rams that go.
yeah, yeah. The rut.
Why are we doing this?
It's the rut. Yeah, we've lost our minds.
We're rams.
But I hate you, at least until we're done.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, Agnew, I know you, just like everyone, are wrapped up in John Cena's heel turn. It's the biggest heel turn since Hulk Hogan in the NWO in 1996.
I did see a clip of it. Yeah, it did. It reminded me almost exactly of that heel turn. Like it was very very similar. Yeah.
That's what the bubble is saying. They're like, this is the biggest, and it is but dude, because John was a good guy for so long, just like
Yeah.
Hulk was a good guy for so long. Like that's why it matters. But like I saw it coming, dude, and the way they shot it. Of course, I'm watching it by myself, but I'm still yelling out loud. When Cena hugs Cody, in my head, I go, when he hugs him, he's going to be looking at the Rock. Like Rock and him were going to be face to face.
Oh,
like
right, yeah.
Geometrically, I figured that out, and I'm like, they're going to look at each other.
Right, he's
and then
off
he was like,
to the right a little bit. Yeah.
and he made that face. I was like, yes! Oh my God, they're going to do this. And it happened.
Gosh.
And his face, the way he went from like a happy guy to like, I thought it was unbelievable. I didn't know that he could really just look like a bad guy so good.
Right, yeah.
And then he cut the promo where, because half the audience would boo him, half of them would cheer him, and they just made him stay a good guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was in an abusive relationship. I was like, this is very modern.
It's so late for him now too. Like it's so late in his wrestling career, right? Because he left for a while, right, to do acting and things like that, and now he's coming back in. So is he coming back in and becoming a heel all of a sudden?
Dude, it's the first ever farewell tour for a wrestler. Like he's going to wrestle for a year and then retire.
Okay.
And he has 16 world championships. So he's tied with Ric Flair.
Oh man.
So the thing is, could he win a 17th and be like, the highest of all time?
Right.
And for them to pull him as a villain, it was the smartest thing they could have done. Yeah. Riley's working at Rosie's or Rita's Water Ice.
Oh, Rita's. Yeah.
Not Joe's.
Not Joe's is. There's no way Joe's is still there. Is Joe still there?
I was like the gelati girl. No, I hear Dude Loves theme music.
Radio Ball.
Radio
Ball. I can't believe how much water ice we used to eat. That was insane. We used to eat a quart of water ice after every baseball game. Like a quart. Like a big, wonton soup container. It's crazy. It's probably different sugar. It's probably real sugar back then. Yeah. Like
and there actually was a chunk of a cherry in there. But that was the best stuff. It sounds weird saying I ate water ice.
I know. I let it melt in my throat. I placed it. Yeah, lemon on top, cherry on the bottom. So the cherry wouldn't bleed into the lemon.
I liked having that ice cream ball at the bottom.
Oh, no, I could never do that.
We got to stop.
The custard.
Custard.
I gave up sweets for Lent, and I know that's like a cliche one to do, but my God, it's hard.
I know, yeah, it is cliche, but it's like, you do it then.
Yeah, you do. Right.
Right?
At,
Mm-mm.
especially at this point in life, because it's like at the end of the night, like I'm like, all right, you did the dishes, like kids are in bed, you've reset the house, you get to do all of this tomorrow. It's like, let's
Oh, man,
let's
it's
go
so
ahead and
stale not
double
having
scoop some
anything to.
double fudge, right? Like you're like, it's just a little celebration at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah, it's a victory lap.
yeah.
It's a high five to yourself. Self high five.
And it's been
PDP.
like cookies in front of me, like, oh, my patient brought these, and I'm like, I can't have any.
Oh, dude.
And I started the new job, and they have like cookie jars, not cookie jars, candy jars everywhere, like Twix and Dove
No.
chocolates and chocolate covered blueberry. Like they've got a smorgasbord of stuff that they just like leave out that you can have. And I'm like, I mean, it's probably good. It's probably the perfect time for me not to have anything, so I can just start that habit early of not just mindlessly reaching for it, but it's like it's all
Oh,
right
I
there.
know. It's so hard not to at work because you're just like, well, it's right
I
there.
just need a
And
little
I could
boost.
really, right, just a little, yeah. So last show we did, we were talking about something. I don't even know what, but you inferred that you had a new job. And I didn't catch it until I listened back to it. And I was like, was he like doing a bit or was he actually referring to reality? I didn't know. And then you said last week, you started the new job. What is it? What happened?
Well, I mean,
Fill us in.
first off,
Tell
being
us what you can.
unemployed is a pain in the ass nowadays. Not that
Oh my
I,
God,
I had
dude.
never really gone through it before, but it's
It's a
so
nightmare.
digitized. It's so
It's a
digital.
nightmare. And it's a mess of a digital mess.
And I'm not sure like which way
Hate
you're
to want
supposed
it.
to attack it. It's like, do I
Yeah.
just have
Yeah. You don't
to
know where to start.
become a robot to beat the robot so I can talk to a human? um there's lots of things where it's like, oh, do you have this certificate? And it's like, no, but I've been doing it for 20 years. Like, what, like, I have to go pay somebody $2,000 to go get a certificate that I could just explain to you, that and you could hear my words with your ear holes and be able to understand exactly that I know everything. It's just crazy. So
These
after going through
certifications.
after going through that for so long, this popped up from somebody who knew me already, and so they called me up and connected me. And it's a very interesting company. They make tracking devices, and mostly that work in like hospitals and stuff, so you can like track patients and make sure they don't wander off the floor and things like that. And so for me,
That's good.
it's been really
Can't believe they
cool.
didn't have that yet.
No, I mean, they've had it for
That's
years.
awesome.
It's just that this is one of the companies that makes that stuff.
That
So
like fine tunes it.
yeah, yeah, and so it's pretty interesting how everything
Update.
works, and I've been I've been like Neo in the Matrix, like where they just kind of stick the pin in the back of your head, and they're like, "All right, I'm gonna like kung fu," like it just they're just I've been in training for the past 2 weeks. I've got training again next week and training again the week after that. So it's like I've got like 4 weeks of training, but I'm just absorbing it very quickly because it's fun to like kind of get new logic puzzles, to like think how things work. And like with like nurses and stuff, like how do the nurses on the floor think, and things like that. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool
Wow.
to
Holy
get different
monkey.
perspectives. I always like to know how the end user is going to use things, right? So whenever you kind of
Oh
design a
yeah.
product, it's like I really want to know. It's like, well, how are you going to use it? Like, here's how we have it today, and you're going to go out there and use it.
Right.
Do you like clicking this button, or do you want that button to be over here? Or are you just going to like,
Oh, that's
put duct
awesome.
tape over something because you don't like it? Like, how are you going to use it? And so that was
Right.
pretty
Like
cool.
user friendly is
Yeah.
like, it's not just what can it do, it needs to be so easy to do it.
Right. Yeah. Like, is it easy to like train the next
That's the
person? Like,
iPhone. That
what
was
what
that
what
was
gives
the
you a
trick.
headache? Yeah, exactly. all like the less clicks.
And it was just like, big button. There's Facebook. I don't have to type it in. It's just a button. Oh my God. Change the world.
Well, I mean, even
It's
the
insane.
Apple operating system, they said you can't, to get to something, we don't want anybody to click more than 3 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
We the one downside of starting with them is that they work on Windows, and I'm like, please, can I get an Apple? And they're like, no, we only work on Windows. I'm like, but my productivity is like up 500% if you get me an Apple, because it's just so much easier to kind of do things, and things don't just like crash all the time. And Windows is like, hey, do you want to like know the the weather? I'm like, no, I don't need to know the weather. I'm indoors. Do you want to know like the traffic to this random location in an hour? I'm like, Windows, shut up. Like it like Windows is like made to make you stop working. Like it's insane. Like the things it throws at you constantly. And I'm like, can I delete this, or can I like move it off? And it's like, no, you can't delete it. Like, good luck. Like we don't customize. I'm like,
No,
it's been
I
so
am not
long.
a computer person, but like because I forced myself to get an Apple because you did, it like made me better at it. Because it's better, it's easier to learn on an Apple, I think.
You have to kind
It's
of
like
think.
easy to navigate, so then it's easier to learn.
I think when you first start on it, you
Damn
don't
it.
realize like how much responsibility it puts on you. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you have to
You're like,
organize
oh
your
shit.
files. I'm not going to just organize your files for you. Like you need to figure out how you want to put stuff away. Like this is your room, you need to keep it clean, right? But then everything else is like so much simpler. It's like, do you want an application? Well, it's right here. It's not in like 17 folders. This is it. The application's right here. You don't need to like find
Right.
drivers. You don't need to
Dig
like do
around.
all these other little things. That's the thing that's like crazy, like where you take for granted with Apple. Like you plug something in,
Yeah, I know, and they're all
and
talking to each other.
there's not 5,000 things that
Like,
jump up
oh.
on the screen like, I found it. I found it. I'm installing the drivers. It's like, good for you. You're the freaking computer. You're supposed to be doing these things. Like I don't need to know. I just want to plug it in, and then it just works. Like it's
That was the
crazy.
craziest thing, man. I
Windows
was
is
like,
so
when I
boasty.
got the laptop before the iPhone, and then when I got the iPhone, it was like, oh, wait a second. They know each other.
Oh yeah, the
It
ecosystem.
was awesome.
Yeah. And it's not like
So
it's not like Android definitely has advantages over Apple, but just the ease of use is enough for me. Like I don't need a
yeah,
5,000 pixel camera. I don't need, you
uh,
know,
dude.
like,
I mean, how many? The cameras are insane
I mean, it's just
on the iPhone. I don't know how much better you can get. You know,
yeah.
they're insane. It's so crazy, dude. I do cinematic mode on my phone and video the girls like out at the pool, and it looks amazing.
Oh, see, I still
And
have
I'm like moving around. I don't even have it on a
see
tripod.
I've made it to half the iPhone. So I've got an 8 still.
Oh, I'm at like I don't even know what this is. I think a 14 or an X or
I was just proud
I have
because
no idea.
since they made it to 16, I was like, that's pretty good for me. Like I'm
Oh
at I'm
wow,
at
you're getting,
half I'm at half
that's
of the current
amazing.
iPhone.
Yours still works.
It
That's
does. It works
incredible, dude.
fine.
They start
That's
to
because
like take a shit.
they got sued for slowing them down, and it turns out when you don't slow
Uh,
them down, they work just fine. So
oh, that whole planned obsolescence doodad. Um, so not to veer off computers,
yeah,
but good job. Well done. Sounds pretty cool. It's
yeah,
amazing because it's like my nurses may be using your shit and I
I'm
don't
sure
even
they
know.
do. Yeah.
uh,
Um, and then, well, the one downside is I've been having to commute in, and it's like an hour each
maybe
way.
that's how the inference came about. I think we were talking
Yeah.
about like driving or commuting or something. Where is it in the
It's in Newtown. Yeah, it's like Yardley almost.
Oh, Newtown
Yeah,
Square.
so it's up. No, not Newtown Square. Newtown.
It's
Newtown
just really
Square
annoying.
would be like a 20-minute drive.
Oh, damn.
Newtown is a lot farther. It's like it's up 95. So it's not just the fact that it's like an hour, it's also like white knuckle hour, like it's like so it's all the people who either don't know math or forget it when they start driving, and they're just gunning it through the whole highway, thinking that they're never going to hit a red light the whole way to wherever they're going, and they're
Oh
just like
God.
zipping in and out and almost clipping cars. And it's like, if it wasn't for that, if it was just like cruising on a back road, it really wouldn't bother me that much.
Cruising on the back road.
But I started listening to audiobooks, and I started listening to this one, um, the Courage. What is it called? I rented it from the library. It's called the Courage, the Courage to be Disliked, and it's really good.
Oh, I
Um,
think I listened to that.
did you listen to it?
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
like
listened to like the Cliff's notes of it, dude. It's like a 34-minute like synopsis, and I'm like, I'm cured. And then it faded off.
no,
So I need to like listen to it repeatedly.
it's interesting because it set itself up, um, in a way where it's not like a normal audiobook. It actually acts itself out as like a play. So it's a philosopher and like a young boy who like are arguing in like a nice way, but like arguing, and the philosopher's
Mhm.
trying to explain his his philosophy, and the boy's like, that's stupid,
Philosoph
that doesn't make sense, like nobody like wants to do that. But it's kind of like an anti-Freudian um philosophy, and it's kind of neat. It's like it talks about the separation of tasks, which is like something to do where you try to figure out like what exactly you're responsible for. And so like when it comes down to being like disliked, which the book kind of frames a lot, it talks about like it's not your job to make people like you. It's your job to be a good person, because there's always going to be people who dislike you no matter what you do. And so it's their job to like
Yeah,
you, but it's not your job to make them like you. And you shouldn't be doing anything to try to make them like you.
right.
Right. It's not a matter of like being a bad person at that point. It's just that
Right.
you shouldn't be you're like you're never going to make everybody happy. It's sort of like a you're not going to
Yeah.
make everyone happy
You
type
could
thing.
be you could be trying to get the wrong person to like you and by not being yourself.
Hmm.
Foolish.
And how it's kind of like self-centered to try to get everyone to like you, because it's like, oh, because like you're like the center of the universe, like you're the one piece that everyone likes in the universe, even though that's never happened before. It's kind of like an interesting way of thinking, and it also kind of talks about parenting a bit, which we talk about a lot, right? And I think we would kind of agree with this, but it's kind of tough because as a parent you kind of look at things like,
Yeah.
like you're supposed to help your kids along, right? Like you help them off the bed, you help
Right.
them, get their homework done and stuff like that. And it kind of
And you kind
separates
of
it as
guide them.
it kind of separates it as, it's like, well, that's their task. Like studying for the test is their task. You shouldn't be telling them to study for their test. They should know that they have a test and need to study. And to me, it's like, okay, I think at a certain age, I don't know what age range you're talking about. Like at 3, not really
Right.
getting the studying even at like 6 and 7, still
You got
like
to help them establish the habit
right,
and like the routine of it all, the pattern.
right.
You know,
But
it's like riding a bike. You got to push them from behind to get them moving.
and that's the thing where it kind of gets to eventually, where it's like you need to offer to help, but realize it's not your job. It's not your job to do the homework. It's not your job to
Right.
do the thing. But I'm here if you need help with it. And that's
And you
kind
know
of
what's fun?
interesting.
When they're this age, you can really come up with like pretty creative ways to like get them to the answer, but also learn it without like just giving it to them. You can
Hmm.
like give them clues, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. I
how
mean,
do you
like,
spell this? A word that rhymes with it.
Like
whatever.
like Leo learned a lot of math just from playing with dice. So I mean, I was very worried for a while that he wouldn't be able to add numbers higher than 6, because he was like he was playing Monopoly Junior, and he added 2 more dice to it, which completely breaks the game. The game, because basically you could roll the dice and make it all the way around the board, like a time and a half, which gets you, you know, $2 in that game. It's like $2 instead of 200, but you get like $2 more, and he'll break the game by doing that. And now he just started playing Yahtzee, and he's very big on it. Like he starting to get like the gambling and the probability aspect of it, because you have to like commit to what you're going to get. And he's like, oh man, I really thought I would roll a 3. It's like, yeah, well, you didn't, so you lost. You get a 0.
Oh,
you know I never really played. Did you ever play Yahtzee when you were younger? I never really did.
no. We never played Yahtzee, but I always remember not like wanting to, but just thinking that it was such a funny named game.
Yeah,
But I think my sister liked it. I'm trying to remember even what it looks like. It's just dice,
it's yeah
die,
it's 5 dice and
dices,
deuces and
deuces,
douses, yeah. And
deuces,
they
dice.
you play it kind of, it's kind of like poker. It's like somewhere between poker and dice. So you roll it, and you can either add up, like you can get like all 5s or all 3s or something like that, and you can
I do
you fill out like a little card.
I do like simple games like this, but I don't like all that rattling.
Yeah, well, we do it in our hands. We
It
don't use
seems like
you
just
don't use the cup.
okay.
The cup's a bit much. Um,
God. What?
yeah, when we first started, the cup was a thing, and then we outlawed the cup pretty quickly. And then Leo wanted to bring it to like a restaurant to play before we got our
We
meal to the
outlawed the
table.
cup.
And I
Good.
was like,
Oh shit.
no.
Left, right, center. I was playing that. I don't know if I mentioned that before. That's my
What's
new
that?
favorite game.
What's
Left,
left,
right,
right,
center.
center? Yeah.
It's I forget how to play it now, but it's so simple. It's like just two dices, and
Dissonanta.
it's like if you roll specific things, you keep going. I forget the rules, dude, but it's so simple. It's like if you roll something else, it goes to the left. If you roll something else, it can go to the right.
Hmm.
And you can get knocked out, but then like you can get back in without like doing anything.
Is it like multiplayer, or is it just like, or like a
You can like
solitaire?
I think you can sit with like 3 people or
Hmm.
more, maybe 2, but it's so simple. I'm just drawing a blank on the rules because I only played it once.
Yeah.
But it's so simple. I just
Right,
need to
left,
see
center.
it
Okay.
again. Yeah, left, right, center. I thought it was left of center, but no, left, right, center.
Did I ever send you the Rusty Lake games, or at least like send you a link to the Rusty Lake?
Rusty Lake.
Yeah,
That's the greatest name.
it's fantastic.
Good,
It's a
good band
whole.
name or a good horror movie band or
It,
horror movie
you're not
name.
far off. Yeah. So Rusty Lake is actually like so the games are kind of horror esque. So it's kind of like an
Oh.
escape room game on your phone or iPad or whatever. And they started off with like a few simple ones, but then they kind of got a fan base, and people now kind of follow it, and they've built like one game off of another until they had like, I think, 9 games. And then they came out with one that was phenomenal, and that one is ridiculous. It's called Cube Escape Paradox, and they released a yeah, but it goes so deep, man. It's like, because once you've played the other games, there's like a little bit of this like story that's behind it, where there's like a murder,
Oh, no
and there's
way.
like a detective and things
Wait,
like
what's it
that. So
called? Cubescape. What is it?
if you look up Cube Escape in on like your app or something like that.
Cubescape.
Yeah.
on my app.
Like in the
Cube
App
Escape,
Store.
Rusty Lake.
Yeah. And so you can
Oh,
do
weird.
you can do like the Cube Escape collection, which is like the first 9. But then it like they've layered it so much. So if you go in Cube Escape and do all 9 and then you do Paradox, um the Paradox one is so much fun. It's so
Full walkthrough.
enveloping because there's 2 parts to it. And then there's also a YouTube video. And you could just see the YouTube video. But when you actually slow it down, there's little clues inside of it that unlock things in the game if you like once you've already played the game. So you can like find like little symbols like in the background if you like pause it at the
It's like
right
the law.
time. Yeah, oh,
That's
it's
amazing.
insane. It's so much fun. And they
Yeah,
made
there's like a walkthrough video on their
yeah, don't do
website.
walkthroughs. Don't do walkthroughs because that'll spoil it.
Does that
Like
just like spoil everything?
that just spoils everything. That just shows you how to
It's
solve
a
everything.
cutscene.
But you could do the cube escapes. There's only
The
I think
trailer.
there's only one thing I didn't like in one of the cube escapes where they have almost like a timer. It's like one of those things like where all of a sudden you have to like solve the puzzle before something
Well,
bad
time
happens.
runs out.
So I didn't really like that. I don't really like to be pressured.
I don't know.
But if you play those and do it with the sound on, like the sound quality and like the way they do like people talking and stuff, it's like it's like very unique. It's
Creepy,
very creepy,
but awesome.
but yeah, very good with headphones on. And then you start going through this whole like ecosystem of like this whole world that they created, and then they have like a few spin-offs that sort of like reference the world, but it's like off in right field.
Oh,
And
that's awesome,
and then
though.
they made one that 2 people can play together, and I still haven't quite figured out how they did it, but they play together, but it's not like linked over the internet. It's just like as you give clues back and forth to each other, it keeps both of the games moving. So like
Dude, that sounds amazing.
I'll be on mine and I'll be like, all right,
Intimidating.
do these 3 things and the vent should open. And then like you'll open up yours and you're like, oh yeah, all the smoke's leaving the room. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I see the smoke coming out. But we're not like connected over the internet. Like you've got your phone, I've got mine. Like I don't type in
What?
anything that like connects the 2 of us. It's just like
Stop it.
logic. And it's so good. And they're really
That's
cool about
insane, dude.
they send out like
Scare.
like Christmas emails and stuff like that, and it'll be like, oh, like there'll be like a little thing in the picture of it, like Merry Christmas, and there'll be like a little thing in the corner that's like a thing that you can then go back to like some game that you've already played like 100 times and like go back and like plug it in, and all of a sudden there's like a new level in the game to like keep going.
Oh my god,
it's so
dude.
good.
That sounds amazing.
But when you get to
But it sounds intimidating.
when you get to the cube paradox though, when you get to that one, it's like, oh my god, because because they took the characters, like the characters are like cartoons in the game, but they found actual actors, like good actors. And so the actors look just like the cartoon, but they're real, obviously. But it's like so all of a sudden it becomes like live action, and like the room that you were working in is fully real. Like the guy's like in the
Oh
room
my
and he's like looking
god.
at stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so good. It was such a good production. So I'm like a huge fan of it,
That
and
sounds amazing,
I've
dude.
replayed them like 1,000 times. So um, I've almost gotten to the point where I can't play them anymore because I've played them so many times. Like I've memorized how to solve the puzzles and stuff like that. But it's it's
Dude,
worth the time.
this looks so crazy.
It's so in depth. Like even like their website has like tricks. And then one of the latest ones they did, like there was a website in it, and if you went to the website, they made like a full website that looked like it was made in like 1996. And like you could go through it and like find little errors in it, and then those errors like were like little puzzles. It was so much fun. It's like a little scavenger hunt.
Yeah, dude, it's insane. I'm I'm on rustylake.com. Room
Yeah.
Escape Games Cube Escape Collection.
Yeah.
We
So
are Rusty Lake.
I think a lot of them are like free now too. I think Cube Escape is free.
Cube Escape Sessions.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But they have such a following. They
left
had like
center, right.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Tell me, how do you play it? Left, center, right.
I mean, I can.
Right,
I think
left,
I could
center.
read the rules there. Left, center, right. LCR. That's what the kids call it. Wait, what? This is like a podcast.
Left of center. Right. right of center. Yeah, you're gonna end up in like a political site.
podcast.
Yeah,
I know. I'm like, geez. Dice game, please. Dice game rules. Jeez. In left, center, right dice game, players start with chips, roll dice, and pass chips based on the dice results. That's how you can go out and in.
Oh, so you need chips.
So like if you,
okay.
There's like these little blue chips.
Yeah.
And yeah, whoever has the most wins.
I have like poker chips.
Pretty much. But they're smaller. Tinier.
Do I need these specific chips to be able to play the game?
I think it comes with it. But no. You could use anything. You could use nuts and bolts.
I could use
I think we're gonna go see Snow White on Sunday.
Yeah.
All four of us.
Ooh.
I didn't realize that Wonder Woman is the witch or the whatever.
That's kind of the joke, because people are like, she's kind of hotter. The movie's going to be over in 3 seconds. They're like, who is the fairest of them all? You are. Totally you. and then it's just the credits.
Well,
the credits just roll.
The mirror's like, better singer or just better looking? Well, better looking. Well, you. All right, good. Yeah. Hi-ho, hi-ho. Yeah. Rachel Ziegler is good, and as she was in West Side Story. She was such a good singer.
Yeah.
But she looks like she's like, I don't know, 11. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Come on.
Yeah, they could have got a.
But I can't wait to see what she looks like as the ugly one who gives the apple. Like, are they going to goop her up?
What if she's just
or
like?
Is it going to be somebody else?
What if it's just like a girl who wears like a nurse costume on Halloween? Like she's like, I'm a witch. Like she's still like super hot. She's like
witch.
I'm old. Here's an apple. That would be hilarious. Like all she has is like a hood on and like a little wart on her nose. So
like
she's
one
like,
wart.
Now I'm disguised.
I'm gross. I'm ugly now.
She doesn't even have a wart here. She's got like a wart, like a Marilyn Monroe wart.
Right. Yeah. Cindy Crawford.
Yeah, Cindy Crawford. Oh my God. She's got paint on her overalls.
And it's weird because the reviews are like, it's spectacular.
Yeah.
So I'm like, probably. Meet the Parents 4. Help me.
Wait, there was a third?
I think it was Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers.
Right.
And then like Little Fockers.
Oh.
Which
I don't remember that. Was that straight to VHS?
I don't even think it did that. I think it was just on ABC with commercials spread out over 4 hours.
Oh my gosh. It was a 4-night event. Yeah.
Yeah.
They played a quarter of the movie every night. 12
That's
to
what
12:45.
Are you caught up on Daredevil Born Again?
Caught up. I think I saw the first 2 episodes. Was there a third?
Okay. There's 4.
Then I'm not completely caught up. No, I don't think I watched the first 2. The first 2 came out at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched those.
Man, this last episode.
Did something actually happen? Because it was a good opening. It was a good opening, like in the first episode. You
Yeah.
know, like that was very
Yeah, that
action
opening was
packed.
nuts.
Like to say that's not action packed would be insane. But
Yeah.
then after that, it was like a lot of like brooding sort
Mhm.
of, and like a lot of like,
Kinda like
I'm gonna get you, and you're not gonna get me. I'm like, who's getting who? Like, come on, yeah, come on.
episode 3. Episode 3 really has some great stuff with the courtroom.
Okay,
And God, dude, like, whew. And then episode 4, this most recent one, dude. Whew. I mean, I'm just really digging the show, and I know they already got renewed for season 2. So I'm like, I am really good just sitting in this
yeah,
because every character, all the like not Punisher, Daredevil, Kingpin,
yeah.
and
The
this
white
weird
the white tiger guy.
off White Tiger, and then this other villain,
Hmm.
they're all kind of lying, and their lies start like bubbling.
Oh,
You know, like they're kind of pretending that they're like not comic book characters,
right,
basically.
yeah.
And their comic book characters keep like popping out of like this like mask that they're wearing. And it's
Gotcha.
gosh, the most recent episode was awesome. I loved it.
I'll have to
It
check
was
it
really
out.
good.
Yeah, I haven't had a
It's
chance.
pretty crazy.
It's like I
And
do
also
like
funny.
I like the seriousness of the of it. I feel like I did watch a lot of the earlier one, but I didn't watch all of it. But I did watch like a good chunk of
Same.
like when it was on like Netflix and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um I do feel like the tone was like a little bit different. Like some people were saying it wasn't like as dark, and I'm like, I don't know. It feels like it's kind of dark, but
What
I
do you
feel
mean?
like,
Like, what does that even mean?
but I feel I just feel like that like the whole second episode was just stretched out a bit too far. You know, I feel like it was the same thing
Yeah.
like with Penguin. You know, like in the Penguins, I'm starting to get the same feeling
It
to
was like
start.
filler episode.
Yeah, or just like, okay, in the next episode, we're just
We
gonna
know who they
undo
are.
everything we just did. It's like, why? You actually had a good premise, you know, like we're gonna just, I thought that was gonna be like the theme of the season, and then you just kind of undid it, and then you're like, all
Oh,
right,
right when
now
they
we need
jump.
to find something else. It's like, what?
Right. Like they do like the reset. But I mean, Born Again.
Yeah.
And it's foggy, but it's really like a big conspiracy. Who knows?
I mean, to be fair, I hated the Foggy character. I don't know if you're
He
allowed to
reminded me of
say that.
Samwise.
Yeah.
You're supposed to love him, but I just would. I
Yeah.
like Karen. That's enough.
I don't think I like that actor. I'm sorry, but like he's been in other things. He sounds like he's in an eighth grade skit. Like it doesn't seem like he's acting. I just don't get any emotion from him. Like I just don't. I've seen him in other
He
things
gets
too, and
he gets like
he just
he
says
gets all the
things.
like quippy lines
Yeah.
that are kind of like you could say them in any way and they're funny.
Well, it reminds me of like Ducky, like from like was that
Ducky.
16 Candles or whatever. Um, like it's just
Who's
it's just
Ducky?
it's just like
John Crawford. John whatever.
but just kind of
From
like
Two and a Half Men.
yeah, exactly. But like just kind of like saying stuff. But it just feels like you're playing like an 80s character or something like that. Like you're not actually being honest with how you're portraying whatever you're doing. Like I don't know, it just feels off. Sometimes you just see an actor and it like, nope, you missed it. It's not it.
I felt that way a long time, and I still sometimes kind of do, but people give him a pass because he's such a nice guy. It was Keanu Reeves. I was like,
Keanu Reeves
just talking.
well,
You have
like
one tone.
literally
Literally one tone.
in that was what was so funny about Point Break and stuff, right? Because he was like, who's gonna ever think that I'm a surfer? Like when he was like, what?
You are.
You sound exactly and look
We
exactly
all
like a
do.
surfer. I'm like,
You sound like a surfer. Like
but
when
my
people do
last
surfer
name
voice,
is
it's your
another
voice.
state. Like it doesn't. they've taken my name and put me in Utah. Like, and it's like, yeah, but you sound like you're from California, dude. Like, it doesn't. I'm in
Your
the
name's Keanu.
FBI. Yeah, we don't stretch it out that long. Like, it's like
Keanu. Like he's
Keanu.
Hawaiian or something.
So funny.
But he's a great guy, and he has some freaking gem one-liners, like life lesson one-liners. My God, that I'll never forget.
Oh yeah.
What happens when you die? Those who love us will miss us. I'm like, someone had to write that for you weeks before this. There's no way you came up with that on the spot.
You could have just like a lot of time to think about stuff.
Or like give me a heads up on the Colbert questionnaire, because it's like, repeated questions. It's the same questions. Is hot dog sandwich? That's one of them.
What is it? Is a hot dog sandwich?
A hot dog a sandwich, apples or oranges. It's those just easy, simple, fun ones. Let's see if I can. Let's do the Colbert questionnaire. It's crazy how he was like in character the whole time on the Daily Show. He wasn't just like being himself.
Is he being himself now?
Remember, he was like weird. He was like acting. Yeah.
Well, he was like.
I don't think he's doing a character.
He was supposed to be the Republican version of the Daily Show. That's what the character he was doing. Because like the Daily Show was very like Democrat, and then he was being the Republican one.
Right. That's weird. Okay, best sandwich.
What's the question? To me, best sandwich? Day after Thanksgiving sandwich with leftovers from Thanksgiving and mayo, and if you're feeling a little crazy, throw in a cool cucumber to give it a little extra crunch.
Ooh, I like it.
You've already got the cranberry in there, so yeah.
Yeah, it is missing a cruncher.
Leftover turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce on soft bread, enough that you can squish it all down. And I like
not a hard roll.
I like to put some mayo in there. Yeah, not a hard roll. No, you need something.
You
don't want to. You've already worked your jaw the day before. You need a nice soft.
Your tum tum.
The turkey's going to be enough to chew through, but yeah, no.
So the day after Thanksgiving sandwich, the Dat Day sandwich.
Yeah. As Wawa puts it, like a gobbler, but I would. I mean, it's better when it's actual, when it's real. Yeah.
What's one thing you own that you should really throw out?
One thing I own that should I really
see, it's like I have so little. It's everything I have is right here, and I'm just not throwing it out.
I have
technically, that's mine.
I have another washer and dryer set that I should throw out. I should just get rid of them. They've just been sitting in the basement. I've offered them to people, but like for some reason, people are like,
put them out on the curb.
They're just heavy. I just don't want to get it. I just don't get around to it. And like they're practically brand new.
A lot of work.
They're practically brand new. I think that's the problem. It's one is.
I mean,
the dryer works great. The washer had some sort of air code, and when you get smarter washers now, when they get an air code, you're like, okay, I guess you don't work anymore. Like you can't do anything until your error code is cleared. And I tried everything I could do to fix it. But at the time I had the in-laws with us and I was running out of time, and I'm like trying to like everything in this thing was pristine. Like I took it all apart. The drum, even around the drum was like clean, like perfectly clean. Like this, the thing was only like a few years old. And I tried to fix it. I replaced like a whole bunch of parts on it. The only thing left was like the entire wiring harness, and I just gave up. So I got a new washer and dryer. And then the people who were taking it were like, all right, we'll take these, like, because they were like smiling because it's like a brand, like the ones they were taking away were like brand new. And then I told them to put it in the basement, and they got very upset because they were like, "We'll take care of this junk for you." I was like, "Yeah, it's a brand new like gas dryer. I'll keep it in the basement, please." So I have, but I still have them. I'm still trying to get rid of them. I think I have them.
Oh,
I have them up on Facebook Marketplace
error.
already. Yeah.
It's like my iPad. Like we even took it to the store and it's just like dead. It's not dead, but it's dead.
It doesn't charge.
It doesn't open. You know, like it turns on and says hello, and then it doesn't do anything. Doesn't even say goodbye. What's the scariest animal? Oh, jeez.
Those. Oh, a wolf spider. Wolf spider.
That's an insect. That's an arachnid.
Oh, it has to be like a mammal.
Or reptilian. Or avian. Or a bird.
Just not an insect.
Par avian.
Right.
Yeah, not an insect. That's not an animal.
What was it again? It was the scariest?
Scariest. Like if you saw it, you're like, oh, I'm gonna die now.
I mean, I haven't seen. I guess a moose. I would say a moose.
Oh,
because like
they're
you're
bastards.
like bears, things like that. Like you've kind of brought it upon yourself, but you could run into a moose, and that thing will just trample you. Like it'll be over. It'll just like step through you, and like a bear, you might have some tactics. With a moose, I think it would just be like,
There are tactics for bear.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there are for moose. It's like just get a gun
It's
and
just
a big gun.
Get out of its way. Like just avoid.
Yeah, like I'm like that with elephants. I'm like, dude, if you catch a bad one or a mad one,
yeah,
it's just gonna smash you. Even if you're in like, it doesn't matter what you're in.
Yeah.
Apples or oranges?
Apples. There's way more variety of apples. There's like 5 oranges. There's like 37 varieties of apple. And it's a very unoriginal name. Apples, all the way. Candy bombs, sugar bombs, so good.
Oh yeah, candy apples.
And you don't have to like do the peeling thing. Like the peeling thing
and
is
peanut
like,
butter.
It takes so long.
It's annoying. The thumb. Have you ever asked someone for their autograph?
I asked Wes Chamberlain when I was a kid, and I got it. He was like walking in front of me at the vet on an ALS night.
On a what night?
It was like a fundraising night at the vet.
Oh, okay.
So you could go.
I thought you meant like All-Star or something. I think I asked Kevin Stocker. No, I asked Harry Callis and Richie Ashburn, and they both gave me their autograph.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, on a ball. I still have it.
That's fantastic.
What happens when you die?
You go to heaven?
Boom. Heaven. And is heaven like lost? It's like whatever you... Or you're with the most important people in your life?
I would say the experience of heaven would be that you break out of time. And so that with everything being timeless, you can experience whatever you want.
Oh, wonderful.
So you can visit, your family, and you can visit them at any point that they were alive. And you can visit your ancestors and ask them questions and kind of fill in the gaps of anything you want to know.
Your favorite action movie?
Action.
I know. And we're not going to get into debate.
I mean, I think it would have to. I think it would have to be Die Hard, because it just has the most rewatchability, and I think even just this year I realized how perfect a film it actually is.
Yeah, it is flawless. If you want to fundamentally grade a movie, it has everything.
Yeah,
and it does everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you could come up with 100 categories. It scores 100 in every category.
It should. Yeah. I mean, it's like love story, complexity, use of dialogue, uh, the drive of the villain, the setup, the disbelief, the comedy of the
Yeah.
police coming in and taking each other over, which is just hilariously cliche. Like, all right, this is my jurisdiction now. Like,
Right. We're taking over.
we're taking over.
And a familiar police officer assisting our
Oh my
hero,
gosh, so good. He
Officer
almost didn't
Carl
get that
Winslow.
role. He almost didn't get that role.
Yeah. There is like a weird story behind that. Uh, Favorite smell?
Baking bread.
Baking bread.
Yeah, there's nothing better.
I would say, I don't know, man. That Christmas tree, that Christmas smell is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I haven't
When
had
you
that in a
like
while.
first smell it a couple times
Yeah,
at the beginning.
we've had a fake Christmas tree for years because Kelly's
Same.
allergic. Girls also, women also have like Kelly has a very nice scent. So it's like you can be mad and be like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
damn, I'm not mad anymore. So that's also very
Yeah. Disarming.
yeah. But
Least favorite smell?
when the basement flooded, gray water came in, and I would say gray water is not a smell I want to smell. And like every once in a while, I'll walk by a sewer and get a whiff of it, and like unless you've been in contact with it, like it doesn't really register. So gray water, yeah, for sure.
It's like gray matter.
Yeah. What was
It's
another?
not. It's
There was
just so like weird to me that it's got to smell horrible. My least favorite smell, dude.
Remind me to tell you about Christmas this year, by the way. But go ahead.
Dude, smells from humans are worse than anything else to me. Like if
Really?
someone stinks bad, that like, yeah, because it's almost like the smell is alive.
Yeah.
Exercise.
I think it
Worth
depends
it?
on how much it keeps hitting you. Like if it's like when it hits you
Oh
in
god,
waves,
yeah.
like if it hits you like once, you're like, all right, like fine. But if it like keeps just like hitting you in waves, it's like it's more
That's the
nauseating somehow,
worst.
right?
When you
Like
think
it's
it's gone.
because you don't know
Uh
when you can take a deep breath. You're like like you try to
like if
get in
yeah, you're
between the
like
waves.
like if someone eats like a dry turkey sandwich and is like and you're just like, what? That to me
Oh
is the
yeah, getting hit
worst.
with that. Oh, that used to be so much fun. Like just aiming a burp at somebody. Um,
Water, flat or sparkling?
hold on. Can I tell you something real quick? Um,
Yeah.
uh,
No.
uh, 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 at Christmas, I was gonna make a beef tenderloin, and when I opened it,
Gordon.
it was like vacuum sealed, and it looked fine. When I opened it, the smell that came out of it was like
Oh no.
releasing the container in Ghostbusters, like the roof of our house just blew off. I honestly I had it over the sink, and I just I took a knife to cut the plastic, and as soon as the vacuum broke, right, as soon as it was like like that, like it just did that like little
Oh,
and everything like opened up. I was like, oh, like something's not right. And all of a
oh
sudden, like
no.
everybody was like in the other
Oh
room, and they're
no.
like, what did you do? Like all of a
Dad.
sudden, it took 2 hours to get the smell out of the house.
Spill something.
It was just like bad. And
Oh, it's
so
the worst.
so like Kelly came in and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, I just opened this up and it's like it smells really bad. And so we like bagged it really quick. Like she was at the point of like almost throwing up. Like it was so bad.
Oh no.
And I got it like in a trash bag and I
Ugh.
ran it outside. and I got it in the trash can. And luckily, it was like cold out, so that kind of like keeps the smell down. And it was on Christmas,
Right.
right?
Yeah. It doesn't
So
cook.
I was kind of pissed because it was like a big piece of meat. It wasn't like cheap. It was like
Ah,
$40 or something like that. But we were gonna like eat it for like 5 days, and
right.
so I
Oh,
so I went like I had to wait a couple days for the the holidays to kind of end, and then I went back to the store, and so I got back to the store and I was like, hey, you guys sold me a beef tenderloin and it was like rotten, like it was like horrible, and I want my money back, like here's my receipt, here's this. And they're like, we're gonna need to see it. And I'm like,
what
well, it was rotted, so I like it stunk, so I threw it out in the trash. And
do you want me to preserve?
they're like, well, we're gonna need it, because like, how do we know you didn't just like eat it? And I'm like, well, I didn't. I'm like, I've been shopping here like for a while. Like, I'm not trying to get money off you. I'm not trying to scam you. I'm just trying to like, it wasn't
I
cool.
always
I
think of
opened it up.
Jerry. What do you think this is? A little scam I run?
Yeah,
I rip
I'm
off
just
beef tenderloins. I pretend that they're rotten. I call the food store back. Like, what?
how many times
Right,
is this gonna
Jerry.
work for me?
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
you can see, like, I live right nearby. Like, you guys, and it was just like a new grocery store. They're like, well, it's also like we need to know, like where it came from, so we can call that supplier and get the money back from them. I'm like, okay, fine. So they're like, maybe if you could just go get. I'm like, if I bring it in here, I will clear out this store, because not only did it like take 2 hours for the smell to
Rancid.
get out of our house, it it's now 4 days later. It's been sitting in a bag, like, and it got kind of warm out, right? So it's like,
Oh no.
I don't know what state it's in. But you're
Mhm.
saying you want me to bring like a stinking trash bag of a 4-day old beef tenderloin into this building and open it up so you can like look at it. That's like,
And your customers can see how gross your beef tenderloin
they're
is.
like, even if it clears out the store. I'm like, this makes no sense. Like, do you want to like come with me? Like, I will
You'll
drive you
lose
and like
business.
we can go. Like, I don't understand what you want to do here. So they're like, well, go get a picture and bring it back. So it turns out, like, as I'm having this conversation with them, it is actually, I didn't know that they were going to ask for this. It's trash day.
Of
Okay.
course.
So I leave from the grocery store and I start driving back to my house. And as I'm driving back to my house, I pass the trash truck. So it's coming down my block. So I quickly pull up and like park the car and I race over to my trash can, and they're like maybe 4 trash cans down. They're like opening them up and dumping them and stuff. All of a sudden, I like open up my trash can and I take out like like I have to lift off all the other bags that are on top of it. I take out this big stinking bag and I like rip it open, and I have to like snap a picture with my phone, and the meat is like green and like this like
It's like
slime, and
maggots.
oh my god, it's so bad. It was so bad. I just held my breath. I held my breath for like 10 minutes. I definitely did not breathe. And I'm snapping it. And I remember like, I looked up and the garbage guy's like, like, what are you doing?
He's
Like,
like,
what, who does this? Like, we'll just throw it out. It's
he's like,
so, it's like, and
dead
I have video
body.
of the whole thing because it was all like my doorbell camera. So like, I full proof, like I ripped it open, like right in front of it. So I'm just like, like taking the picture, and then I like threw it in the back of the trash truck, and I brought it to them. I brought them the
The
picture.
trash guy was like, the head. You're
Did
like,
you
no, it's just gross beef tenderloin.
who did you kill?
It's not a
Because that
body,
goes in
right?
the next truck. The bodies go in the next one. We're full. Um, but
Full bodies.
I brought it back to them, and they were like, "We'll do it this one time." And I was like, oh, "Okay." Like, not only is my con so detailed and so perfect, but I also have a picture of 4-day old green meat in a white trash bag, like, and video of me just opening it up just now. It just seems a little too perfect, you know.
I photoshopped in the date. It's
Oh
not
my
real.
gosh.
That's from a year ago. I did this.
Go ahead. Sorry. Next one.
Dude, that's insane. Dude, there's nothing worse than this happened to me recently. Like, I had a huge uh it's like the one steak where it's like two. It's like a fillet and
Oh, like a T-bone.
like a New York strip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Porterhouse or something. And it was
Mm.
like this thick.
Yeah, the New York strip's on the one side and the porterhouse is on the other. Yeah.
It was humongous. And I remember I set it out the night before and then got home from work the next day. And I'm like,
Oh no.
be kidding me. And I was like, not sure. And then I smelled it again and I was like, this is bad.
Yeah.
But it was like free and a gift, and like we probably left it frozen for too long. But it's such a letdown because you kind of like almost plan a lot around that. All right. Water, flat or sparkling?
Flat. Nobody drinks. Psychopaths drink
I know.
sparkling.
I don't get. I hate sparkling.
Like I tried it for a while, but it just gets you too bubbly, and I feel like it's getting into my blood or something. Like something's like off with it.
Getting the bends.
Once in a while, but flat.
Most used app on your phone?
Ways. I mean, really.
You get one.
Yeah.
You get one song to listen to for the rest of your life. What is it?
One song or one album? One song?
One song. I know. That one's gonna like.
I've got a few follow-ups because it's like, do you have to listen to
time.
it constantly, or is it the only song that you're allowed to like?
You get one song to listen to for the rest of your life. So it's like, I want to listen to a song. Well, you can only listen to this one.
I feel like it would ruin like any song that you would choose.
Well, you gotta pick the one that you could probably hear forever.
I almost want to pick like a Legend of Zelda background music just to like.
Oh, dude, it's a wrestling theme song for me for sure.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, yeah. What would yours be? Because I gotta think about it still.
I'm pretty sure it would be Shawn Michaels' theme music. Boom, 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 and it wouldn't be the one when he sings it. It would be the one when Sherry sings it. I think he's cute. It's like bad, but it's so good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
hands off the merchandise. He's so sexy.
Maybe
he's got the looks.
I think the Unplugged Hotel California.
Oh, like, yeah.
Like the acoustic one. Because that might be able to like meld into the end of it and then back to the beginning of it, you know, so it doesn't, if I had to listen to it on repeat. You saw the Eagles live?
Yeah. I literally saw them play that song live, and it was so great. Oh my gosh. It was so great. Like, that's all I can say. It was as great as you could ever imagine. Like, they had 10 songs where I was like, that was just great. Unbelievably great. Like, as great as you'll ever see anything.
It's like
no wonder they're still playing in like their 80s.
They have like fake timing or something. Like, it's like, how can you?
Yeah, dude.
How can you not miss like one? Like,
yeah, it almost
downbeat. Like it's like
right.
Everything is just hitting, and they're like very relaxed about it. And it's like, why? Like, how are you not so?
How are you so rusty or kind of clunky? It's like, God, they're just. It's like they're not a rock band. They're like more classy than that.
Yeah, and then like
something. You know what I mean?
So, some like
symphonic.
Everybody like has a different song that they sing. You know, that's the other thing too. It's like, oh, you're the singer this time.
Or it's almost, or like an instrument is more like heavy in one than you know, like the song is just heavy on one. Yeah, they're special group of fellas. They're so old. It's insane how old those guys are, and they're still going.
I was having a catch with
But what else are they going to do?
with one of the kids from we just started up the spring baseball, and one of the kids on my team, like, we were just like throwing to warm up. And so sometimes you run across these kids and they just say like the funniest things. But I was having a catch with this kid and he was like, "So, who's your favorite band?" I was like, "What?"
Huh?
I'm like, I don't think I've been asked that question, like, especially not by a
in
kid. It's
in 20 years.
like band. Like, would you even think of things as a band? It's like, is Taylor Swift a band? It's like
Uh-huh.
it's so funny.
Who's your favorite musical act?
Yes.
That's like how you have to ask it.
Who's your
It's like,
favorite
well,
YouTube?
band.
Who's your favorite
Right.
YouTube? So I thought it was funny to get asked.
Who's your favorite YouTube?
Who's your favorite YouTube?
You get no. Okay, what number am I thinking of?
17.
Oh, dude, close. I was thinking 7 for
Ah.
real. For real. And then that's it. That's the Colbert questionnaire.
So does he ask that every time?
I don't think every time, but like it's almost like a thing where it's like they don't have a funny story. We'll just do this. You know, if the guest doesn't really have a lot of material.
I like it.
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. Yeah. Have you been following any trials?
Oh, Jesus.
And have you been following this, the Idaho 4, the Brian Kohberger trial?
I feel like I am.
I know. I don't know which name to use.
Well, since I started this job, it's like the amount of time, the amount of time that we've had to do anything, besides reset the house is just like nothing. I've never been so careful with my time. Like, it's like I have 2 hours at night. So no, I have not seen anything unless Windows has been trying to shove it down my throat. So what's going on?
Yeah.
Fill me in. I'm ready. Hit me with it.
Well, they released the text messages.
Well, no. You got to give me the premise of what's happening. I don't know anything.
Oh, well, this happened, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago. These kids, these 4 college students, 3 girls and a boy, were found stabbed to death. Around 10:30 in the morning by their roommates, and the house was huge. It's like 3 stories, okay. And there were 2 surviving roommates, and like their stories were like, the media was like confused by them, but like, anyone's actions in a situation like that is going to sound confusing, right? Because you're in like unbearable shock. Like your brain isn't like connecting dots at all.
I would think discovering like 4 dead bodies would do that to me. Yeah, it's like,
so dude, text messages that they were exchanging at the hours believed that the guy was like killing.
The 2 alive.
Yes,
kids. Okay.
They're trying to reach because they hear shit. Like during the time frame of the murders, these 2 are talking to each other, and they're trying to talk to the other ones, and they're not hearing back. And the text messages are creepy as hell. Like at one point, she says, like, "I'm so freaked out." He all in black with a ski mask, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, shut the fuck up." And she's like, "I'm serious. I saw someone." And this like girl saw him.
The dead, like one of the victims was messaging that, or one of the alive people were messaging?
One of the alive. Okay. One of the alive people. Right. And because she heard shit and went to her door and looked out, didn't see anything. Heard shit again, like probably like boom, 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 Looked out the door again, didn't see anything. Heard shit for the 3rd time. Opened the door, looked out, and as she looked out, the dude, the killer, walked right by her and out the door. Didn't see her. And that's when she said, like, I saw him in like a ski mask. Now remember, these girls are college. They're hammered. They're bombed. Their texting is really garbled and misspelled and like doesn't make sense a lot of the times. So they released that. Then they release the transcript of the 911 call from the next morning.
Hmm.
When like, okay, so these girls probably pass out at like 5 a.m. So they don't wake up until like 9, 10 the next day. And they're walking around the house. People aren't answering the door. The one girl's up against the bed like this, and she won't wake up. But they don't see any blood because I think both rooms are real dark. And the one girl's just like curled up against the thing. And they're just not seeing it, I guess, because no one mentions anything about blood in the 911 transcript. Then they release the audio of the 911 call. And it's insane.
Oh, man.
It's insane, the shock and fear that these kids are going through, having like processing that it all happened while they were there and that it didn't happen to them, and their friends are all stabbed to death.
Oh,
And you can like sort of hear it in the background. It's just unbearable, man. And then today, so okay, the only evidence left behind was a knife sheath, like
Mhm.
so sloppy, a knife sheath, and they scooped blood or DNA, not blood, DNA out of the button, on the knife sheath. You know how it like
Okay, yeah, right.
straps over and snap out of the button, and then matched it with his dad's DNA, and that's how they got
Oh,
Koberger. That's
wow,
how they arrested
jeez.
him. Yeah,
So it was
but
the dad of the guy that was over at these girls' house, and then the dad came over and killed him and the 3 girls?
no,
Oh,
no, they had his dad's DNA on the whatever you know how
on the
it's like how,
knife, yeah.
on the no
On the
like
knife
in the
sheath.
system, in the
Oh,
system.
okay.
So they like matched the DNA they got on this button in the system of DNA that they have,
Mhm.
and it matched like 99.999 to Koberger's dad,
Okay.
which means it's a relative of his
Of
dad,
his
which means
dad.
it's
Oh,
him
okay, I'm
because he
sorry.
was
Okay.
there,
Right.
because they got his car and all this shit. But his trial is in August, and they released today that the day before the murders, his Amazon account, he bought that knife.
Oh.
They're like, but it's
But
so
they
weird
they
how they
already knew that he
release
was
stuff like that.
there? They already knew that he was there?
Like they're
Like the
they're
text
like
messaging or
claiming
whatever?
he's there.
Okay. All right.
There's no video of him, just of his car
Well, who would have
driving
video,
around
right?
the
I mean,
area.
like, it's...
It's like ring cams and
Oh, they
stuff.
had a ring cam. Okay.
Like, yeah, there's there is like just random, I guess like hotel or apartment complex parking lot cameras.
Oh, placing him, like, in
Walmart
the
has them
area.
too.
Okay, gotcha. So
Yeah,
they...
finding his car and
Yeah.
matching the car, and yeah, dude, he was just and then he created this fake Facebook page under like an alias, like pretending it wasn't him. His name was like Papa something weird, something stupid. And dude, all the questions that he would like pose to like the group, it was like, dude, you did it. Like at the time it wasn't obvious, but like now
Yeah.
reading it, it's like, oh my God, he's just like making sure that the public is thinking in the other direction
Right.
and not like he's just trying to like throw them off course. And then he was just like, there's no proof, there's no proof, there's no proof.
What
He
was the
thought he
motive,
like
though? What was... Did
planned
they...
he dude, he was like doing research on like why killers kill, like why are serial, like he was obsessed with serial killers
Uh,
and like criminal, like he was studying criminal justice,
but he
but he
didn't,
was
like,
really obsessed with a criminal.
but he didn't know these people. It wasn't, like, personal.
There's like a thread out there that I haven't like dug into about it, where it's like he may have been stalking her, or he may have like been friends with her on Instagram, or like tried to text her on Instagram or something like that. But that, I don't know. Some of it's like the thumbnails make it seem like someone's reaching. So I don't know if
he
you know.
was let's just say having her as a target, but there's
Mm.
there's more people, like he killed more than one at that place. 4. So
He went in. I think you're right though. I think he went in to kill one girl. It was the wrong girl, but the guy was in there, so he had to kill them both.
Mhm.
Then he went to kill the one girl that he originally meant, and she was with someone else, and that girl woke up and he killed her too.
All
And
with
that's
a
when he lost
knife.
the sheath. That's why he lost the sheath, because so much happened that was like unplanned. I mean, dude, think about it. They're drunk and passed out and in the dark. All you need is like a couple in the stomach, and it's pretty much over. Or the neck.
Yeah.
17 minutes.
I don't want to think about it, but yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't either.
And then he walked out past the other girl and didn't see her. Oh.
Didn't see her. And then another girl whose like window is on the ground floor. The one girl that was alive also, not the girl that saw her. Yeah. She looked out the window, and where they think he parked to like change his clothes, she said, I think I see someone like naked outside, like getting dressed. That was him. Because he like, had no blood anywhere on anything. But anyway, I just remember, the trials that pop up and down.
That's a good one. Yeah, we haven't had an expert.
It's just brutal
this month yet.
Right. We haven't had to be an expert other than the Department of Education. Which, what is it?
What is it now?
Do they decide the tests? The Department of Education, that like everyone's like, Trump's dismantling the Department of Education, which Linda McMahon I thought was in charge of, and I thought they were like friends. So I'm confused.
I thought he put Linda McMahon in that role.
Yeah, he did. So I don't get it. Maybe he's like breaking it down and then rebuilding it. But the headlines just say dismantling.
Just the fact that everything's kind of saying the same thing is just making me kind of just sit back and waiting to see. Like I don't think I've ever seen so many headlines being like, "You're doing this and you're doing that," and it's like, okay, and like,
has anything changed?
The other thing is like I just don't understand. It's like, has anyone commented on facts yet? Like, come back with facts. Like, I don't understand. Like I don't know what everybody's doing. We didn't know what everybody was doing before. Now we know a little bit of what everyone's doing. It's like,
yep.
Is that not okay to ask some questions? I don't know what the Department of Education does. Like, I don't. If they don't, they don't say the Pledge of Allegiance in school, in public schools here. Like, it's like,
that's weird.
Kind of odd. Like
they do here.
Do they?
Because Charlie did it the other day, and I was like, "Oh, you still do that?"
Leo said it
was a thing anymore.
At Boy Scouts. At Boy Scouts, they did it, and Leo was like, "What was that whole thing?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess you guys don't even say it." Yeah. But they're very like I think the public schools here are very like anti-American. I feel like they're very like like everything's oppression and everything's bad, and we need to learn about more about like indigenous people than like all of history. I get that bad things happen. I'm not saying that kids shouldn't learn that. They should. But it's like I feel like everything just kind of gets like harped on that. Instead of actually just kind of focusing on all of history and being like, yeah,
right, yeah, it can
things
be
happen.
Both.
Let's go. Like it's pretty cool that we're in America, where an experiment occurred and a lot of the good things of all history came together to kind of form this. And yeah, some of the same bad stuff is still going on, but at the core, the idea is still there. It's like you can't throw everything out.
Like if you listen to that Louis C.K. and Shane Gillis go through every president. They get to a point where at Louis C.K.'s like telling something, and Shane Gillis goes, "Oh man, I'm getting so pumped up." And Louis C.K.'s like, "It is a romantic story if you choose to look at it that way.
Yeah.
America is a romantic miracle." He's like, "It is a miracle that we're still doing this like 200 whatever odd years in.
Oh yeah.
It's a miracle that we're pulling this off and everyone's just playing along by the rules." Well, let's just keep it up because it's so slippery and fragile.
Oh yeah.
It can go away quick. It can
I
go
mean,
away quick and be
I feel like
ugly.
it almost could have, like I think it's, I think it sucks that things are getting so shaken up, but also I think things need to be shaken up a little bit just to make sure that everything's being honest. I think there needs to be way more transparency, you know, like
Dude,
I think there's nothing
you
wrong with
always learn
transparency.
more when you pick up the rock and flip it upside down
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
look underneath.
Why couldn't have we had done
Like,
it before? It was like so quiet before. And now all this stuff's happening. It's like, what was happening before? Like, why was it so quiet for months,
well, we
for
can't handle it.
years? It's like, I know it's like, trust the advisors, trust the advisors, trust people who know more than you. It's like, why don't you just tell me what you're doing? Why do I have to be an expert? Why do I have to
You
be an
know,
expert at the Department of Education? It's just tell me what you're doing.
for the people, by the people, we give you the job.
We're for you, the people. We're
You know, that
by
is the weird
you.
thing. It's like we all collectively say, okay, now you do the job. So now you got to tell us every step you take. Stop being so weird and secretive, like a cult.
I feel like this is one of the first times, at least in my recollection, that anything that somebody promised to do, they actually did. Like, whether you agree with it or not, you can't deny that.
No, and I think that's what Trump did in this first thing. He like loosened the jar,
Yeah.
and then he came back for the second term and he opened it.
I mean, I'm kind of glad
You
that
know, he had to like know.
that now he's like, this is a second term. So like when he's done, he's also done. Like we don't have to like do this anymore. Like we don't have to like go through this fight, but it's still like he's still doing, like it should set the idea that when we get a president into power, that what you vote for actually happens.
Yeah,
I feel like it's kind of
it
weird that
should be
like
the
that you can elect somebody and then have them not do any of the stuff that you wanted them to do, that they promised to do.
yeah.
And then it's like, wait, what? Like, so
Yeah.
I have to vote for them based on their character, what they're saying, and then when they don't do it, well, you got to wait 4 years. It's like, wait, what? It's like it's so
Dude,
crazy.
yeah, I mean that's why I was always like it's pointless. They don't do shit. They have to like 2/3 in majority, like all that. It's just nothing happens.
Yeah.
But I feel like he loosened the jar and in his first thing, and then we got back. Everyone's like, oh well, he's not gonna let that go because we fended that off for 4 years. We're not gonna be able to do it again. But I don't know. I have no clue.
I think like Musk kind of laid it out very clearly about, he's just like, well, we're doing things and we're trying to make good decisions and we're posting everything that we're doing. So if you want to read through it. Like it's not, it's kind of a funny way to kind of go about things because it's like, all right, well, if we're doing something wrong, then prove it to us. We've given you all the facts of what we're doing, right? Like, show me where we're doing something wrong. Make an argument, like it's like an open forum.
People are so like confused by it. They don't know like
They're like,
they're
no,
like,
you're
"Oh,
getting rid
you
of all the.
idiot. You did this." It's like, "Well, no, this is what we did, but we're showing you. So if you don't like it, what should we do instead?"
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
think people even get there. "Hey
Yeah.
guys, that's good effort there, but it would be better if you did it this way." And
Yeah.
then they would be like, "We'll do it that way." Cuz a million people just said to do it that way.
Well, people don't always talk in problem statements and solutions. They just tell you you're doing something wrong, and that doesn't solve anything. So either clearly define the problem, like find a better way to find the actual problem, because the only way you can like disprove a solution is by is by, defining the problem in a different way that shows that the solution isn't solving the actual problem, right? Like something bigger is happening, right? So like if the street is flooding, you're not like, hey, we need a new road because we can't drive on this one, right? Like, yeah, you can't drive on it because there's water on it, right? Like there's a bigger problem on top of the lower problem, and your solution to make a new road sounds great because we can't drive on this road, but really we need to get all the water off the road, and then the original road
Where
comes
does that
back.
original problem go?
Right. Yeah.
You can't just road over it.
Yeah, you can't just drive out.
Water won't just go away.
Yeah, what about the fish, man? Where are the fish gonna go? You're gonna kill all the fish so you can drive.
Speaking of water,
yes,
this is something that is I'm grappling with it.
Grapple.
When people are like, we're gonna run out of water, I'm like, we don't get new water. We only have this water.
Right.
It's not like the water has like been replaced by some, Dharma drop, pallet drop.
Like we're all drinking pee, right? Like at some point
we're like Jesus
in somebody
and me have shared our pee.
Yeah.
It's so insane. It's just this constant recycle.
Seems to be working out. Seems to be working. Seems to be working
pretty
well.
It seems to be the thing that keeps it going, actually. It seems like the only thing keeping it going.
Well, if we're going to run out of water, then drink Gatorade. I don't know what to tell you, Go drink your Red 40.
And even that is made of my pee and yours, that Gatorade.
I don't know what that is. Maybe like a little bit of it.
Well, how did it become liquid?
That's true. They had to add something to it.
It's insane.
But
it's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I just stopped listening to all the people. Like a lot of people, when I'm walking around or like talking with like parents, they're like, oh man, it's just like it's just all this bad news. And I was like, no, I don't know. I
want to talk about John Cena's heel turn. I don't care about what they did in the White House at all. I want to talk about the new, what do I want to talk? What is coming out soon?
What do you think? Like movies?
Maybe movies. TV show.
There
is a new funny TV show about the White House, actually, that came out today. Maybe yesterday. Yeah, today. With Randall Park. I love him. He's so funny. He was Asian Jim or Agent Wu in the MCU with Ant-Man.
Yeah, he was
in WandaVision.
What was he?
It does the card trick.
Right.
He's so funny.
Yeah. You want to hang out or I don't know. Do you want to hang out? They should have shown them like getting. They should at some point in the future.
Do you really want to do it?
Yeah.
What? Go hang out.
They should just like be out like getting a burger like in some future movie just to like complete that joke.
They do in
Did they?
Quantum, in that mess. Yeah, for like a blink. It's so annoying. I wanted them to like have, a good 5 minutes of banter. I mean, those two could, Paul Rudd and Randall Park. They're
they did hang out in that?
Comedy.
Yeah.
It's in a montage at the beginning when he's like, we saved the world, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, it's like a quick thing. I guess I didn't put that together. I just thought he was like there. Well, yeah. Those movies. I rewatched like Endgame again. I watched Infinity War and Endgame again. It's really done well. It's so hard. It's so hard to like go from that to like everything else. And then I was trying to like make sense of it all. I rewatched all the
why
Guardians.
The fall.
Like, I'm like, why? Like, what went wrong?
Dude, it was just such a culmination. It's like, how the hell are you going to follow this? It's impossible because you were able to follow every movie up until that.
Yeah.
because it wasn't this unbelievable dude. It's almost like the John Cena heel turn. It's like
Yeah.
25 years of good guy culminated, and that's why it worked for him becoming a bad guy. It's like
But
20
but it
movies
wasn't.
culminated in like all the movies together at
But
once.
you could have just crammed them together. I think more it was like they 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 put a board up, right, and then they kind of placed all the different characters. They're like, all right, this guy's going to come in, and then he's going to break off with these two, and this one's
Mhm.
going to solve this problem, and this one's going to solve this
Yeah,
problem, and that is going to be there, and this is going to cause a problem, and we've
that's
never
why I
seen these two.
love
You know, like
Endgame
it's
because I'm like,
so.
this is how I would do it. I would team them all up and then split them all up.
Yeah, I mean, even Infinity War split them all up. Like all of a sudden, you were kind of
Uh
like
huh.
mixing and matching and keeping them in like little bubbles.
Yeah.
Some of it, I was thinking about was like, w- why, why were they stuck on Titan when everything else was going on? Because that, like, Strange just sling rings them back from Titan, like in Endgame, and I was like, oh, like I saw that and I was like, well,
Well,
like Tony was injured.
now remember Stark is like, we got to go to him because then he won't go to Earth. Like
No, no,
we
I know
have to
why.
fight. We have to
I know
fight
why
him.
they went to Titan, but post fight at Titan, they sat there. Post Titan
Remember
fight.
because he looked into the future and he knew they had to.
Mm,
Remember before the fight, he's like, how many times?
yeah, 14 million and something.
Something, yeah, 605 or something.
Yeah, no.
So the coming, I love that scene of the
So
coming country.
so that's why he kept them there. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, because yeah, he could sling ring him back, but then it would end in death.
If anything, though, it was a good excuse. If anything, though, it was like a good excuse as to um, how everything happened and why different strategies weren't employed. So like every comic book fan, it's like kind of like what I just did, right? Like, well, why did this happen? Like, what happened? And
Right,
it's like, oh, well, this was the 1 in 14 million
strange.
chance, like
I
that he saw.
know,
Like, so
dude.
he was just following. It's like, it just
Dude,
shuts
that
it
is
down,
like
you know?
that's such a cool, and that scene is so cool.
Yeah.
Like it gets scary almost. Like no one knows what he's doing. Even Iron Man's like, "Strange, are you okay? Like
Yeah.
what's happening?" And then he's like, "Ugh!" And they throw it in there, and you're like, and I love how Iron Man's like, "How many do we win?" Like it's almost like a game.
Yeah.
Like he's barely taking it seriously yet. Like, how many do we win?" He's like, "One," and then you're like, "Oh, fuck." So he has to like
Yeah.
chess move everybody, even if it's going to be real ugly at times.
Yeah.
So that was just such a fun get out of jail free line written in there.
And you thought,
Plot hole cover.
and you thought in Infinity War that the one was like the ending of this movie. You know, like you thought, like, oh, right, like we've led him into the trap, and but things are gonna work out just in time. And it's like, here it comes.
But then he
Good.
says, when he fades away, he says, "This is the only way."
Yeah.
Uh, I sadly knew, like, Tom Holland or no, Ruffalo, like, leaked that, but then they announced that, like, another Avengers was coming.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. But again, dude, like the reason I fell in love with those movies because I just couldn't believe that they pulled it off and it didn't look ridiculous and stupid. Like they were really trying to make as close as you can a comic book movie. Because it's almost impossible to
How did
me.
the
I'm like, you're never gonna take that imagination book blend with that writing.
how did the Pym particles work in Endgame though? Like I was trying to understand this
They
because
worked with Tony's GPS thing.
oh, I think I figured it out. No, no, no. The No, I get how they worked, but there was like a limited number of back and forth
Pin
that they each
particles.
had one to go and then come back, right?
And one,
And
yeah, right.
and then when they then those two went back further and got new pin particles to kind of come all the way back and get the tesseract and the right. But the
Mm-hmm.
but I was trying to think of how Thanos like came through afterwards without another pin particle because um what's her name?
Nebula.
Nebula had one to go and one to come back, right? But I think she also maybe had one for the ship, uh, like the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, because it shrunk down. Remember, like they're holding it in their hand, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Oh, take good care of that," right? So, like
That
the
scene is so good.
yeah,
Yeah, sure. I'll do my best. He's like, promise. That was the worst promise I've ever
was the
heard.
worst promise.
He's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do my best. Like, sorry for promises. That was
Yeah, oh
horrible.
yeah. As far as promises go, that's pretty terrible.
That was pretty crappy.
Um,
Uh,
so they had that one. So I was thinking that maybe Thanos somehow took it and then had that ship inside his giant, because his giant ship I guess had everything in it. Like his giant
it's
ship
like a
had like
world,
yeah, it had like a world in it almost. Like it had all the
and it had
aliens.
like it had advanced technology, so he
Yeah.
could combine the Pym particles into like him and the ship would
Right.
change.
So do you think
But yeah,
that that's how he did it? Like cuz then she came back and maybe the ship had another one and that ship was inside his ginormous ship and then she came back and like typed in a few things and then he exploded out of it.
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I like that. I remember watching that first time. Like, what is? Oh
I kept forgetting where they were when I watched it
man,
the first time. I was like, "Oh wait, are they still in like New
yeah, they're
Jersey
like
or like upstate New
downstairs.
York or something?" like,
Yeah.
uh, like when the
Oh my god, they're like
battlefield's like
downstairs.
laid up. I'm like, wait, they're like just in that yard um,
Right.
of their center. Got all
But I
torn up.
remember she 2000 whatever 14 15 2015 Nebula takes the Pym particle from our nebula and gives it to Thanos.
Yeah, I remember her doing
And
that.
then Thanos duplicates it and
Do you think he duplicates it?
replicates it
I don't think
and
they show him
yeah,
doing
he,
anything like that. He's just like he just like looks at it.
I it's just like, well done, daughter. Ooh.
But
Well
like he
done,
sends her
daughter.
back and then yeah, very good with the water bottle. Sends her back and then like she waits and then lets him through. So anyway, I was like, it's a kind of like when you watch Harry
Oh
Potter and
yeah,
you're trying to
right.
figure out the Horcruxes at the end. And you're like, wait, is that 7? Seems like not 7. Like you have to kind of do the math over and over again. So maybe he just used the one for the ship and like maybe they just left that
I
ship. Maybe they had to like rebuild it
I
later or
dude,
something.
I think his Ebony Maw or his weirdos like were able to
They could just
mess
do
with it.
stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like they have alien technology.
Got it. Okay. All right.
You want to call this one?
Yes, let's call it because we're tired chaps.
We're
Who have
old,
to
but
go to
dude,
work.
I was gonna go a little insane if I didn't get on here and chat with
Yeah, I
you.
know. I can't keep
I
pushing
was
it
like,
off, but it's
Jesus,
like
I'm talking to myself almost. I need to share ideas out loud to my friend.
to my friend, we share ideas at 9 o'clock
Yes,
at night,
I
almost
know.
12.
After killing ourselves all week,
With zero energy, but it's like
limping through Friday.
seriously limping. Like I still have my hamstring. It's like
Oh,
I need that to
oh right.
solve itself. That was the weirdest feeling ever. I was doing
Dude, hamstring
well.
sucks.
Did you ever pull a
Hamstring
hamstring?
hurt. No, but I did like not tear, but like
Mm.
I stomped too hard because I was running too hard to beat out an infield single. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I planted too hard on first base, and my quad was like,
Ugh. Yeah, this
so
was th
it
it
just
turned
sucks.
oh, well, I learned something about it, so maybe this information will help you. So you can pull a hamstring as you slow down. So it's not about how, like, fast you run or anything like that. It's about
Oh yeah,
as
Dave
you're coming
Cicero
to a
did that once.
stop. Yeah, so as you're coming to a stop. And I saw another guy on our team do it, like, at practice the week before. We were just running around the bases, and he was about to turn on first, and he just dropped. And I was like, "Oh,
Ah,
like, crap," you know, so I,
yeah,
like,
you
ran out, and he was
just
like, "Ah, my hamstring." And so I was stealing 3rd in the scrimmage that we had, and, like, I was there, and so I was just, like, slowing down to trot, and all of a sudden it was like my right leg just shut off. Like, it was like, "Nope," like, and it just felt like the whole thing was just like, just
oh
tight,
man,
and I
did
just
it hurt?
yeah, it hurt a whole bunch.
Dude, I remember Dave Cicero doing that, and he was screaming,
Yeah,
and he's pretty tough.
yeah. I
So I
was
was like, "Oh, Jesus, that must hurt like hell."
I was still thinking, like, I have to get safe. So, I hobbled to 3rd base, and then, like, the nice thing about this league is that, like,
That's that
everyone's over 40, so they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I think so." They're like, "Did you pull a hamstring?" I'm like, "I think so." Like, never did it before. And then I kind of, like, did this, like, you know,
Did you
because
try to stand?
I had to try to score on the next play, so but I couldn't, like, put any weight on my right leg, so I was just, like, doing this insane, like, jump, through the air, like a triple
Oh
jump.
my god.
And then I tried to
Oh,
go out
that's
and, like,
brutal.
play, and it was just, it's like no amount of stretching. Apparently, what you have to do is, um, like, kneel and have somebody hold your ankles, and you're supposed to, like, go down to kind of
Yeah.
like almost like a push-up position, like, as slow as you can, and that's the only way to stretch out your hamstrings, like, truly stretch them out, to not pull them. So, I'm gonna try that a few times, but I don't know if I can
Engage
actually
the
play
core.
this weekend
Remember
anyway.
to engage the core on that stretch,
Oh
or
my
you'll
gosh.
blow out your back.
I was all worried about my shoulders. I did not think my legs were gonna do stuff. And then it was just like
Oh,
and I was, like, doing so well. Like, I hit the ball opposite field, like, exactly where I wanted to hit it. Like
damn.
I saw a gap between 2nd and 1st, and I was like, "I'm gonna hit it right there." And I dropped my right foot back right before the pitch came in and hit it exactly where I wanted to. And it's like and I got a double, ran to 2nd, no problem, like, standing up. I mean, like, winded, I guess, but, like, still pretty
Nice.
good for, like, my first live pitch in, like, years,
Muscle
you
memory.
know? But and then, yeah,
That's
and muscle
awesome.
memory, but my muscles also like, "Meh."
And then hamstring.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
uh, you must have had pretty strong hamstrings though, because you were a catcher. You were squatting
I don't think
so
it's I don't
much.
think it's about, like, strength, and I've been doing squats, like, leading up into
Oh,
this
right.
too. So, like,
It's elasticity.
I think it's just, like, old. It's just like,
Yeah,
"Nope,
it's just wear and tear.
that's the
It's
way
just
this
like,
works."
nope.
So
Yeah.
hopefully I can
All right,
recover.
brother.
Yeah. But, alright,
Rest. Do that
let
fun
us
stretch.
let us do the
See
stretches.
ya. Bye.
Bye.